And for our sixth lesson, we are going to cover some useful extensions that I've used. I'm going to kind of briefly go over them and not spend a whole lot of time. You'll just kind of have to kind of jump into it. But they have been helpful. Some of them I use, regularly, like the instant door and window. Some I don't as much, like maybe selection toys or even like the geolocation, and which isn't an extension, but I do want to just kind of cover that real quickly. So let's just go ahead and jump into it, and I'll show you what some of these things can do. I may add more to this as I think about it, with maybe some follow-up videos, but for right now, I think these are a pretty good start for what we've covered so far. So the first one, Valley Architects, again, that is like the instant roof. Well, you've also got, if you downloaded that instant architecture, you get the instant door and window, you get instant fence. There's even more. You get instant stair, instant wall, instant site grader, instant road. I'm not going to go into all of them because they're all pretty extensive if you kind of dive into it, but they're pretty easy to use once you kind of get the hang of it, and they're all very similar. So let's just go ahead and do the door and windows. So what we need to do first is create just kind of a wall to demonstrate what we would be doing here. So I'm going to push pull this, and we are going to use our tape measure to find our first window. Let's say this is a 4-foot wide window. Come up here somewhere and make this 6 foot. So we're at 6 by 4. And I'm going to go ahead and square this off and make a copy of that just so we can kind of make some other windows if we'd like to. Just do that. Okay. So instant door, what I'm going to do is go ahead and delete that spacing right there just so I have a spot to kind of place this window. But let's go ahead and create door window. This is the instant door and window under Valley Architects. And we've got our windows here. We can select a style. And for our first style, maybe we just go with, something traditional like this. So I think this is what, a single hung type of window. We can change these a little bit. So our parameters, we'll just X out of that so we can still see what we're doing. I've got it set to double wall, but we're not actually on a double wall, but let's just do 3D, or you could just even do 2D, which is actually what we're doing. But I just want to make this in 3D to see how that kind of looks. Edit the style, yes, that's fine. And we'll just hit parameters. Materials, I don't mess with that too much. Because what it's doing is it's taking materials from within your model. I don't want to do that. I just want to color these windows the way I want them. So I always do that after the fact. But we go ahead and hit our parameters. And our width is going to give us from outside edge to outside edge. So I think we said we were 4 foot, and then the height is 6 foot. There's 6 feet. There we go. The thickness, I just leave alone at 1.5 inches thick. Detail, I'm not going to worry about that too much, but you can change that if you want. So the top sash is at 2.5 inches. Bottom's at 3. Sides are 2.5. The mutants I do change from time to time, and you can change that. Right now it's set to rectangular, but you could do like craftsman, where it's only the top part is going to be have those mutants through. Prairie, or even diamond, and that, I think that's true with most of these styles. You can kind of change, but we'll just keep it at rectangular right now. The vertical bars, if you can kind of see that, there's 2 showing, or right now we only have 1, but you can change that. So maybe we do want 2 for this one, and on the horizontal it's just 1 as well, but we're going to do the 2 as well for that. And then frame, I usually leave all of that alone. The sill, I don't necessarily want a sill for this one because maybe I'm going to make my own sill underneath here, but so for now I'm just going to turn that off. And lintel, I don't think I need that either. So I'm going to turn that one off as well. So let's just go ahead and make door window and just see what happens. Okay, so there we go. We got this in place. And what it's actually doing is it measures from this point to this point being 4 foot and this point to this point being 6 foot. So you do have to be careful for that. You know, if you want to snap perfectly to where the end is. So what you need to do, and what I've actually found, sometimes what you need to do is create a copy of this and delete this for whatever reason. I don't know why SketchUp doesn't allow it to snap properly, but if you create a copy and then snap, it actually works. So I just go ahead and delete that. So I do that quite a bit actually. But that gives you your window with a sill. You can get rid of that if you want, that border, and then just have the window alone as well too. So that's one option here of creating that window. Let's just do another one here just to see how that all kind of looks. Because like I said, this one I use quite a bit. This is a pretty good extension. You know, maybe we go with something like this. And we're going to go ahead and X out of that. We're going to change the parameters. We're still at 4x6. So say 4 foot, 6 foot. The casement, let's just see what that is. So this allows us to change the casement around it, which I don't think we need to change anything there. Sashes are fine. Grid's okay. 2, 4. It's a diamond pattern. Maybe you want to do prairie. Sill, again, I don't think I want a sill for this one. Lintel, I don't really want that. Frame. That is this portion of it. So I don't know if we want to even do any of that. Huh. We can always delete that out though too if we don't want it. But let's just go ahead and make door window and just kind of see what that looks like. So again, you can just pop it into place here. That actually hit up pretty close. But maybe I just want to get it like from this edge to this edge. So what I'm going to do is just bring it, make a copy, bring it here. And what you're seeing here is it's actually over, so you can scale this if you need to. Just hit the S button and scale that down. Grab your old copy and delete it. So you can kind of see. And then if you did make a copy of this, you can see what it does. So here's move, copy, bring it in here. And I forgot to delete that out. But here's what that would look like. Yep, and I think they're all components as well. So if you change this, it'll change the other one. Well, let's just see what this does. So black, black. Yeah. So it does change everything. So they, yeah, and that's the cool part about this too. They are all components. So those are the windows. And then if we wanted to do a door, let's use our tape measure and just kind of figure that out real quick. We'll say 3 foot. That's kind of a very narrow looking door. But we're going to actually just go from the bottom, 7 foot. Rectangle. And I always just delete it. I don't know if you need to or not, but I do it. But let's just go back into this again. So create door from size of rectangle, or you can just even create door window. That's fine. Switch this over here. So here's entrances. You can look at this. These are all the different examples of doors that you can use. For entrances, you can do it for doors, patio. Here's another one. So you got some sliders, some French doors, just some different types of styles and architecture here. Let's see here, storefront, garage. You can do garage doors, which is cool. So that's really helpful as well too. Windows, arch, I'll just show you that one as well. So there's a ton, and you can change the parameters of any of these to make it fit how you want it for your model. So again, highly, highly, highly love this extension, but we are trying to make a door here. So let's stay on track. We're going to go to entrances, hit that. And what do we want to change here? What do we want to use? This looks cool. So we'll go to parameters on that one. Everything's pretty good. Width is 3 foot. Height, I had it 6'8". Let's just change that to 7, but that may cover our frame as well. The grid is prairie, but we're going to switch that to diamond, let's say. Vertical 2, horizontal 5. Again, you're going to have to play with it just to see how that looks. And you can easily change it if you need to. We'll keep a sill on this one. Lintel, we don't need it. Stop, you can change the hardware on the handle on the door. So maybe this one is just something simple like this. And let's see, I think there was one more thing that we could do. Yeah, which way does it swing in? You can go left or right. So for this one, maybe just go right. You can swing in or out. We'll go in, and let's just go ahead and make it. See what happens here. So it will try to snap to any face, so make sure you put it on a face. Again, I've always just made a copy of it. It just is easier for me, but you copy that endpoint and pop it right where you want it. Delete the other one out, because sometimes it doesn't snap to where you want it to snap. Looks like this is a little bit off, so I'm going to scale this down just a hair. If I can get it to fit right there. And that's what we do. And then we can go ahead and color that. You can change anything. If you didn't like that doorknob, you can go back in and change it if you want, or just take it and delete it. But it's as easy as that. And again, you can change the same thing back. I'm going to do one more version of this door, but just show you actually it stays as the last thing that you just did. So it's still that door. Parameters, but the mutants we didn't like. So we're going to go to craftsman, let's say. Keep everything else the same. Maybe we do 4. See what that looks like. And then you make door window. And again, we're going to just make a copy of it. Delete that other one out. Which, yes, I know it seems kind of unnecessary, but some of these things aren't as intuitive as you would like them to be. So that's just the same door, but just a little different. So I'll move on. That one is something that I did want to cover pretty heavily, though, just because it is a pretty awesome plugin that you can use. So let's delete our guides. We're going to select everything here, get rid of that. The next one is instant fence, which is really cool. Let's just create something here. So we're going to do like a pretend property. And our house, let's say right here, and we want to do a fence around the house. Or let's just say the backyard. We're going to go from here to here. Something like that. All right, so now what we want to do is select this line and make a group out of it. So make group. And if we go to our fence, we're just going to say make fence or railing. And you can see it's much like the instant door window, but we can change the style of that. And right here we do have some options to select. So we can do a wood fence, we could do a metal fence, we could do railing if we wanted to. Banisters are in there, but for this one we're just going to do a wood fence. And we're going to hit style here. And then I think we're just going to do something traditional if we can, which would be What would be a pretty easy, nice looking fence to use? That's pretty traditional there. This is pretty good too. So we'll go with that. Go parameters. Our height is at 5'6". Let's make that. Oh, those are the post height. So that's okay. I think we'll just leave it at that. But you can change that if you wanted to go a little taller with it. Rails, the same deal. Just be careful with all that stuff because you need to, whatever you change with like posts, you need to change with the rails as well and fencing because the top of fence is at 6 foot here. But we'll just go ahead and make fence and show you how that can kind of look. So it's going to give you this orange line as soon as you do that. Just go ahead and click it in the direction of the fence and just click again. I believe, or maybe I would click it down here. Okay, so you got to click another edge over here, another endpoint, hit OK, and there we go. So what went wrong here? I think we wanted all of this to be on the outside, so we can actually try this again. So let's undo that. And again, I think we have to make our group first. So make group of that. We're going to do our fence. And everything should be the way we want it, but I'm just going to make fence. But for some reason, I think maybe this is it. So this is what we need to do. The outside of the fence would be where the orange line goes. So if we bring our orange line out this way, click out on the outside, hit OK, that changes it around. So that's how it actually works. So that orange line basically just means in or out. And there you have it. You have your fence. And then you can come back in and kind of fix this as you need to. Maybe you needed to create like a little gate in this area. And actually another way to do that, you can break the line here and have another line. So let me show you how that would work. So that way you can just kind of do it all in one swoop. We'll delete that. Oh, and you can see they're all components too. So if you change one picket, they would all change, but they are grouped separately. So I'm just going to delete everything or undo it. And here's our line. So let's use our tape measure. Let's come out maybe 24 inches here. And we're going to do a 4-foot gate right here. So what I want to do is hit erase. And then we're going to do line to this point. We're going to do another line to this point, and we're going to do one more line to this point. So now we've got 3 separate lines here. And we're going to make group. And if we create our fence, we'll just use the same fence there, or we can do something different. Let's do a metal fence. Let's do metal fence here, check the style. It's kind of like a pool fence, but let's try that out. This is kind of neat. Let's try that. All right, we'll do that one. Parameters, I think everything's fine. Height is 6 foot on the posts. Fencing 6 foot. Let's just see what everything looks like. We'll make fence. Hit OK. And there you see we have our fence, our gate area at least. You may need to add a little handle here if you want to get even more detailed with it, but pretty good. And honestly, that's a super fast way to create fences. I tried to do it, manually before, and that takes a lot of time. And then you're also trying to get everything to line up, and it just it never works out the way you want it to. So definitely recommend that. I will move on to the next one because I think I have exhausted this one, but I think it's a great extension you can use. Sketch Plus is another one. I just kind of downloaded. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I would say it's worth checking out. My default tray is kind of all okay. Here we go. Get that out of the way. So I don't have it here as a button, but here's where it is. It is in my toolbar. So what you can do with this, it comes in as like plus draw. You can find this in the extension warehouse, but it's components, draw, materials, move, select, tags. There's way too many for me to cover, so I'm just going to do a few of them here. But like here's the draw palette. So remember creating that sphere with the follow me tool, and there's really no way else to do that. You can actually just do that right here with this button, which is great. So make a sphere any way you want. If you wanted to do a cone, you could do a cone. You can do a donut, I think. Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of a neat option to be able to do easily. And they all come as groups. Close that, right click, components. What does that one do here? So we've got, you know, a lot of different buttons that you could kind of play with, but one that I would probably use would be like this path array. And it's great too. When you click on it, it'll tell you what you need to do. So what we actually need to do is create a path for it to, for some components to live on. And what I'll do is just make a couple arcs just to show you how that can look. And we need to make a couple components. So imagine these were bushes. So we're going to go right click and we're going to make a component. I'm going to call this one small bush. All right. So now what we want to do is click on this line, select both of these, and then copy a component along, and it'll tell you at the bottom left here, you know, copy a component along that selected path. And you can see, well, it's actually doing something different here. I don't know what it's actually, oh, there we go. So you can actually change how many of these you want to put on that path. So then you can click back on it again if you want. So imagine these were all like boxwoods. You may have to delete a few of them, but you know, you can kind of see how that can kind of start working out pretty well. So maybe I'll try that again. So we'll go path array, grab this. Oops, I'm going to click out. So path array, select your line, path array, copy a component along, click the start point of the path. So we're going to click that start point here, then click our component, and then we can start moving them as we want to. So kind of neat. And then there's other things you can do with this button, with that palette button of buttons. And then we got materials here. So these are like deep painting again. So that would be painting within a group. So you could actually paint this properly. So that face is actually painted. We've got move, which we did that one already, so never mind, not move. We want to do select lasso, so it looks like you can grab, you know, a few of these things as you want. So basically just selection tools, deep select faces. So if you have a group within a group within a group, you know, all nested in, you can actually get into it quickly with the deep select faces. And if you set some of these to keyboard shortcuts, that can actually speed up your workflow, so you're not actually looking for these buttons everywhere. Because as you'll see, like these toolbars start to fill up quite a bit. Select all instances of a component, which is kind of neat. So if you, let's say, had some trees out there, you just had, you know, maybe trees and things all over your, you know, property, and you want to delete that certain tree out, but you don't want to go and click every single one of them. You could just click one of them and then select all instances of that. So then that way you can change that out if you want to, or delete all of that out. So it's a quick way to grab things. Selection tools are usually really helpful, more so than you imagine, just because there's a lot of like picking and grabbing within SketchUp. And so that should be it. Tags, I think, too. Sketch Plus, I don't really know much about that one. I don't even know where it came in at. Oh, here it is. Untag faces and edges. Untag all. Okay, so I don't know why you'd want to do that, but if you accidentally untag or tag things in the wrong category, you can just go back and redo all that. So maybe a little easier than having to get back in there. So Sketch Plus is kind of cool. It's helpful. It's not a must-have, but definitely something that you could kind of work with a little bit. Curic Mirror, Pretty nice extension. You can find that one probably most definitely in. Wait, maybe this one's actually going to be in. I'm going to get my large tool set back on my page. I had it on my other screen. And if I can only just get it to go up where I need it to go. We're going to say Keurig mirror here. Keurig mirror. Okay, no, yeah, it's actually an extension warehouse. So you can grab that there. This is what it looks like. And that's kind of nice to quickly change direction of, you know, something that you've drawn out. So we select it, hit Keurig mirror, and you see where the dotted lines are. That'll tell you which direction this is actually gonna, you know, mirror. Which seems easy for, you know, CAD. I mean, it definitely, they have these native tools in like AutoCAD, but you know, SketchUp doesn't have that. You always had to, you know, grab it, bring it over this way, and then just try to snap to where it would snap to if you wanted to you know, flip things around. So that is kind of helpful, having Keurig mirror. Again, putting on a shortcut key might be helpful. That way you can kind of quickly do it. BZ toolbar, that is this long thing that we've been looking at. I'm going to delete this out. Space, escape, delete. Okay, so what you can do with this, you basically have a Bezier curve. So what you can do is just left click once, and you can see here, if you double click, actually, it'll end that. You can get the endpoint again. I think I messed that up. Here's our endpoint. Okay. Right click. Done and create another curve. Done and switch to addition. Double click. So you can see, if you don't need like perfect curves, this could be another way to do that. It's got some other things in here. You can do like little spirals. Again, not necessarily a must-have, but you know, there's some certain circumstances that you may need it, so it might be worth checking out. The location tool, that's geolocation and selection toys. Actually, let's just do selection toys first. Selection toys is this deal here. I know that's select plus. We don't want that one. Actually, it's right down here at the very bottom, selection toys. So here's how we're going to do that. We can create like a square. We'll put a couple boxes in here. A couple boxes. And let's just do like a couple circles. And let's go ahead and group these circles. So let's make group, and we'll do this square too, actually. We'll make a group for that one. So with this, if you wanted to just select those grouped items, but not the faces, you can actually select all and then just click right here for groups. And what it's doing is selecting all the grouped items within the selection that you covered. So that's a quick way to, you know, find out what are groups real easily, just by selecting all, and then just click on that bottom left here. It says groups, and it'll isolate those groups only. You can do that with faces and edges as well. So if you want to do it with faces, you can do it right here with this button. It's only going to select the faces of this, not even the edges, which could be helpful for some, you know, instances. And then here we want to do just edges, and you can kind of see it did not include the groups of the circles or the square. But it does have the squares for this and the edge for around this big area here. You can deselect them as well. So let's just deselect that. It's pretty helpful. You know, I wouldn't say I use it all the time, but every once in a while you may need to try to figure out, like, what have I grouped so far? Or maybe you just need to grab certain things in a area that are groups only, or only are faces. So it is worth checking out. I think selection toys is probably in the extension warehouse, but I can double check that. Yeah, right here. And this is made by TomTom. And if you do want to check out other really good plugins, TomTom does a great job at them. Fredo is obviously awesome. You've probably heard of him. And then Curic does some pretty good ones as well. And then SketchUp is actually just coming out with some new ones of their own. But what they're doing is actually, you know, taking ideas from some of these guys that have been doing it for a long time and just kind of making it like that Sketch Plus button. Just trying to make it a little easier. And I don't know. I don't remember if they're actually making people pay for that Sketch Plus or not. But I think for right now I have, you know, everything that I have with that is free. So as of right now, it's pretty great. You know, I try to use as much as I can with these extensions. And, you know, I started with SketchUp. I wasn't using extensions very much, you know, just a couple of them. I think the first one I ever used was probably this Dynascape Tools Run CAD Cleanup. And that was great. That really got me through a lot. And then it kind of moved on to like Path Copy and then like Weld. And that's really all I stayed with. But honestly, now that I've been using, you know, Instant Fence and Instant Windows and, you know, all of these extensions that I've been kind of covering, it really speeds up the process of SketchUp quite a bit. So I do recommend trying to dive into at least a few of these if you can. I know I threw a lot at you here, but it's definitely worth checking out for sure. The last thing that I guess we should talk about would be like geolocation. There is a location button here you could look at. I think you can actually get to it over here as well. Add location, geolocation under file. But if we go to this here, we can go ahead and zoom into pretty much anywhere we want. Let's see here. What would be a good address to type in? 1600, what is it, Pennsylvania? If I spelled that right, Boulevard, Washington, D.C. Isn't that the White House? So back up here. I thought it was. I could be wrong. And I probably am. Well, either way, you can kind of see what's going on here. So yes, you can get to, you know, images. And I don't know if they're using Google Earth here or not, but you can get to images of houses. You can select your region, select the provider that you want to do. Digital Globe is kind of the low res version. Near Map is a high res version. If you ever need to get into a little bit more detailing with, you know, the yards, this is the way to do it. But you also have to pay for those. So it does tell you right here what you're paying for, but I think you need to have like 200 tiles minimum. So what you need to do is actually increase the tiles that you're seeing here. So number of tiles is 420. That would cost $33. So I'm going to bring that back down. This is too few. So there's like a certain number that you got to try to hit. And I guess the only way to change that is just kind of zoom in like this. Bring this out a little bit more, bring this out a little bit more. If we can just go a little bit more, there we go. So about 20 bucks for 200 some tiles. It's worth it sometimes. You can do this with Google Earth and some other programs, but you know, if you do need to kind of square things up to an image, this would be the way to do that. And I'm not going to get too far into this one, but I just wanted to show it to you. Just in case you were unfamiliar with, you know, some of this geolocation stuff. So, and that's really it for the rest of the videos. I think this kind of wraps things up. We'll probably dive into some other, you know, concepts as we go along. But I hopefully this has been helpful to everyone. And certainly email me if you have any questions, paul@landsarc.com. And I'll always try to help you out. Appreciate it. Thank you.